Hey, welcome back. Today, John and I will be talking about how to accurately price a painting job and a railing. Our hope is to give you the details and information you need to run a more profitable and successful painting company. Let's get into it.
All right, what's up, guys? Michael and John here. We are going to use our, 40, 50 years of combined experience? Can't be that much. Anyways, it's a lot of experience.
Every day it goes up by like 10 years. So.
It goes up by 10 years. We've done this a long time. We've sold many, many millions of dollars of painting, and we want to use our experience to help you guys out. Today, we're going to be pricing a stairwell for the railings. These are always fun, Michael. Railings are a tough one because there's so many variables involved, but let's assume we're just repainting these completely different color. Keep it easy.
I like this cool little, like, what is this, like a little like kids like hideout thing underneath the steps or something?
Yeah,
like little spot.
This may also be maybe it's a root cellar. Okay. I don't know. Is that what a root cellar looks like? I think it's usually in the basement.
Yeah, I would think it's in the cellar part of the house, but anyways, we digress. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's go to the stairwell. So we're using Paint Scout as always to price this using our time-based rates or production rates. And Michael, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this. But for now, I'm going to select the stairwell as our area. We don't really need too many dimensions because we're going to have to adjust anyways. So let's add some stuff here. How do you start this in your world?
Yeah, I think really what it's helpful here is like working backwards into our production rate as opposed to just saying like this is the production rate, because it's I think anybody watching is going to be like, wait a minute, how'd you come up with that?
Yeah.
Some of the factors here is the fact that this whole railing system is one color, which I would say is probably more rare. And this is probably about the easiest that you're going to come across, as opposed to, like spindles all being white, the handrail and newel posts all being stained, like the base plate, if you will, where the bottom of the spindles connect. What color is that?
Yeah.
Not having to like trim the white against stained wood makes this a lot easier by a pretty significant factor.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that for sure, because there's so much more taping and prep work involved once you've got that going on. You're right. This is one color, super straightforward. So, I mean, for me, I'm probably going to be spraying this. I'm going to guess. You guys, would you spray this, or are you guys going to roll it?
Yeah, probably not. Again, we generally do not spray inside of an occupied home.
Okay.
We find that like by the time we like take over this whole stairway and make it like difficult for somebody, like for the homeowners to live here, it doesn't work. Now, if it's, hey, we're buying this house and we're going to move in a couple weeks, you guys can have it for a few days all to yourselves, like rock it out. Different story. Probably, certainly at that point, spraying is a good option.
Yeah. Okay. Well, walk me through a little bit. Let's add some stuff in here. So, what are you titling things? I mean, we've got a miscellaneous trim section here in Paint Scout with spindles, and I mean, you mentioned this earlier. I mean, there's so many variables involved here. So let's not do that. Let's go.
Yeah, I think you're custom rate. And if we're keeping it all white, I think we're just calling it, stairway railing or something like that. And just kind of for the customer simplicity, we're just grouping this all together.
Yeah. Okay.
The way that, so we can talk about prep, I think a little bit separately. But the way that I'm thinking about, like, okay, we'll come backwards to the prep. The way I'm thinking about painting it, assuming, I've got the floors protected and things like that. I'm going to brush and roll this. Is like, okay, how long would it take me or a normal painter to start at the bottom and put a coat on? And maybe a better way is like, how far could they get in an hour? What's your gut tell you feels right? Like, are we getting up to that newel post? Are we getting up those first 7 steps or so, or not quite, or more than that?
My gut's telling me we're probably getting like halfway.
Okay.
What does your gut tell you?
Yeah, I was definitely like not thinking we're going to get all the way there.
Yeah.
And so, so now I'm getting into like, okay, how far is that? It's probably 8 feet, 10 feet, maybe.
Yeah, I'm guessing
So
probably
it's like,
those
okay.
are probably sections. I mean, can we measure here? Do we have that? capability. I don't think we have one this one, but yeah, let's
Okay.
consider them kind of. Oops. Actually, we can go with the runs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go with 8 feet on that guy.
Are you counting the steps, or it didn't look like
Yeah,
you were counting spindles?
I was
Steps.
counting the
Okay.
steps. Yeah, I was counting the steps.
Yeah, because I think you could do it similarly with the spindles, because you're going to get to this like little flat landing in the top of it where we're going to need to figure
Yeah.
that. But again, either way, we're going to get to the same area. But again, I'm just trying to explain like how I might think about creating a production rate just from nothing as a starting point that then I will adjust with real data as we go and do some of these things. Certainly, you need to have some experience painting something like this to have an idea of how long it's going to take. And so let's just say it's roughly about 4 feet per hour is what I hear us saying. Halfway up that, it's 8 feet, 4 feet an hour.
Okay, so we're going to go linear feet
And
here.
now,
Paint scab, I'm going to put in 4. Okay.
Exactly. And that's for doing 1 coat or 2?
We're going to do 2. So this is actually going to be 2 linear feet per
exactly.
hour.
So now we've got to go bring that back down to 2 feet. Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Which you already know. I'm just explaining it for everybody listening. So, and then it's just a matter, that's the hard part. The easy part now is I just use my laser measure and I measure, from the bottom of that step up to like the wall right in front of us, which is probably in the neighborhood of like 13, 14 feet. If the bottom's 8, the top, that top flat area looks a little bit less, 5-ish, call it 13. I got maybe another 8 going up the second section of the steps.
Yep. So we're at 20, 21.
And then those feel about 8 up there.
Yeah.
If the first one feel about the same. Another 16,
37-ish.
37.
37.
Okay,
So we're going to
pop
throw
that in and
37
see where
there.
we end up.
Okay. So 37, we are at 18 and a half hours for painting.
And so like another way to like just kind of heat check yourself is 2 people. Could 2 people paint this in just over a day? Or call it a long day. With 2 coats.
I mean, I would think so.
We have not done any setup yet, right? So we're going to come in and like do that. And this is with the brush and roll approach. I think we probably end up at a similar number if we're going to spray it, where this painting is super fast, but the setup's going to take a long time.
That's been our experience every time, is that it's roughly the same.
So I feel pretty good about this. I don't really have a reason to think definitely not. Again, this is with the idea that we're painting the white wood on this railing system all white. 2 coats, all white. If we're going to have like a different color, like the handrail and the newel posts are going, whatever, black, I don't know. And the spindles are white. Now that's a completely different equation.
When you look at that, do you think about painting it all one color first and then painting the second color after, or are you actually removing time from the first color?
If I'm brushing and rolling it, I would not paint it all.
Yeah.
That way. Again, if you're spraying it, then yeah, I would think of it the way you described it.
So you're going to come down and you're going to say like, okay, instead of 18 and a half, you can actually go faster to paint just the spindles.
Just this, maybe not by much, to be honest with you.
That's what I mean, right? Like, are you really adjusting too much, or now are you adding a second color and that's going to take more time?
Oh yeah. The adding like that, I don't think it's double, but it might be. We're probably getting pretty close to that.
Is high. Yeah, exactly. So let's just kind of cap this one off. I think we're gonna add in. I'm gonna add in like setup and cleanup, probably 2 hours. Where are you at in that?
I'm probably a little bit more, just because we're working on steps. I'd always rather just err on the side of caution. Call it 4 personally.
4 hours. Okay. So you're billing out, and again, for those who are wondering how you got to that price, that's at an $85 an hour mark. That's including materials. Paint Scout allows you to use just an hourly rate or add in your materials separately. So there's a lot of there's some customization available for you depending on how you do it. But this is how we got to that price, was using $85 an hour. And I think kind of for those listening, if we're adding in the top spindles, or sorry, not the top spindle, the handrail and the what do you call that side? The trim?
On the bottom?
Yeah.
I would probably think of it as like a stringer.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to add probably a secondary thing here with a Staircase stringer, different color. And just for those, Canadian spelling
You're talking like at the bottom, running up the angle there, along the
yeah, right up the angle and the top. So like if we just were quickly to show people, we're going to create a custom rate here, linear feet per hour. Switch it straight linear. We got that same, it's not 37, but times 2. So probably looking at, what is that, 74? 74 linear feet. You're probably going to have, like, how much of that can you paint? Like, are you going to think about that paint and prep at the same production rate, or are you going to split that out?
You lost me on the part of the word when you doubled it. Maybe we're talking about two different things. Where you use your cursor and show us on screen.
So what I'm talking about is we're adding a second color in here.
Yep.
And so I'm thinking about it in terms of like the spindles, what we've already done as being one cost.
Okay.
And I'm adding in the railing and that bottom trim as a separate. And so because there's two.
Got it. You're doing the handrail at the top and the, like, let's call it the stringer or whatever.
Stringer, correct.
The base plate or something. Yep,
yeah.
Got it.
So now you're running two separate kind of linear footages. And you could do that as one, but we always do it as two.
For sure. I follow you now.
So, in our world, like, it's probably that same, like, we're probably going a little faster. It's probably four linear feet, 6, something like that.
Yeah, painting round spindles takes a long time by hand.
Yeah.
It's just the round nature of it. So I think like painting some of those flatter trim boards is going to move a little quicker.
Yeah. So what do you think? I'm probably going 6.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 or 6. Yep, I like that.
So there we go. We got an extra. Now there's a bunch of prep breaks. You got to tape off those spindles. And so I'm probably giving somebody 8 hours of prep. Throw in there. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So we'll confirm that. So if you're going one tone on this, the whole thing, one color, kind of, we're coming out at 1912.50. To add that second color, we're add an extra 1,700 on there. And that's kind of total time. It's just over 2 days for 2 people. Any comments there?
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, again, it's hard to visualize. Part of me feels like that the hours, the price is that's not really the factor here, because then somebody watching is like, that price seems high, that price seems low. It's like that doesn't matter. It's really just like how many hours, because once you have the hours, then you're just going to multiply it by your sales rate, which varies by area and cost of living and so many different factors that we've talked about on other videos. 43 hours feels like a lot.
I do agree. I think 2 days for 2 people is kind of where you're at here.
Yeah, I think if we're doing that full like 2 color thing, I think you're about right. So I think for that amount of time, I would be more of like if we're actually doing staining work, if we had a stain on the top handrail and newel posts and we're changing that, now we're probably even more than the 43. Staining is a whole beast.
Yeah, so much risk there too.
Yeah. I feel like we're 5 to 10 hours high on our production rate here for that.
So probably like I'm going to add.
I think some of the work we did in the first one is going to translate into that second piece there to make that. So
let's go and do this then. We're going to bring that down just by raising our rate a little bit. 37. You kind of thought we had 32.
Yeah, we're getting closer there.
Bring this down a little bit, and there you're kind of in your range. There's 33, and I think you're right. Like some of that prep is going to carry over. Some of the painting is going to be made easier. So. How do you feel about that? I think that's probably more kind of where my gut tells me, but obviously we're trying to give you a system here that makes sense for your business, and you're going to want to do these numbers and make sure they make sense. And we could have made some adjustments to the production rates to really make this easier.
Yep. But I like it. I think at the end of the day, again, this is helpful for somebody who doesn't have a production rate, or maybe they want to heat check their own, just get some idea of how to like think about these things.
For sure.
And then what we need to do is go and like check it and do it and test it. And, oh, wow, like this piece went faster than we thought, but this other piece went slower. We're going to go adjust both of them so that we're giving more accurate pricing.
For sure. Cool.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave your comments down below. We'd love to hear what you think about the price and the time specifically, and leave us any questions you got. Feel free to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.